Do you ever wish that AI was easier to collaborate with? You know, without all the scrolling and the copy paste, and more like a buddy you could sit next to and point things out to and have a natural conversation with? Well, ChatGPT's new Canvas feature gets us one major step closer to that scenario. I ran a content marketing agency for over 10 years, and in that time, my team and I developed a very streamlined process for building things together with our clients. And this 4-step process works beautifully with Canvas. This is going to be super useful for creating content and project plans, but it's also very useful for organizing your thoughts and getting a laser sharp focus on what you're working on. I'm stoked to share all this with you today. I'm going to kick it off with a quick overview of this new Canvas feature. Then I'm going to get into this 4-step process and how you can apply it to a bunch of different use cases. And finally, I'm going to give you a checklist for all of the different ways that you can use this throughout your day and how you can systematize it and share it with your team and even automate parts of it. All right, let's do this. Here we are in ChatGPT. We've got a lot of models to choose from these days. I'll give you a quick rundown on that. GPT 4.0, that's the basic GPT-4 that's been out for a while. GPT-4 with Canvas, that's the one we're going to go through today. This is very good for creating content or any sort of computer code that you want to work together with the AI on. We're going to get deep into that. This O1 preview is the most powerful reasoning model. So if you have some really intensive scientific research that you need to do, this is a great one to use, but it's really for heavy duty tasks. So when you're really asking a lot of it, it's not good for little tasks here and there. This mini is also good at reasoning. This might be a little better for little tasks, thinking through different things. There's even more models in here as well. GPT-4o mini and GPT-4, which is the legacy model there. But today it's all about Canvas. If you don't have access to Canvas, you should have this in any sort of paid account or Teams account. And it's going to be rolling out for the free version, I believe, pretty soon here. So before we get into the 4-step process, I want to show you a quick and dirty way to come up with some unique content ideas. You just got to think about what are you an expert in and what is your audience interested in. And we're going to look at trending topics in both of those areas to come up with some ideas. So I've got a party coming up this weekend. The party is on my mind, and I'm just going to say, what are some trending topics when it comes to cake making? What are some trending topics when it comes to birthday parties? So I'm going to say, please create some unique and novel connections between the items on these two lists for potential content ideas. Now I'm just saying number 6 seems good. Can you please draft a blog article for this? And now it has jumped into the Canvas mode, which is exactly what I was hoping it would do. Sometimes you may need to nudge it and say, hey, use that Canvas mode, but we've got this step-by-step process for a pretty unique party. So now we can use this 4-step process to make this even better. We're going to start with a developmental review. Developmental editing is the first thing we want to do before we get into the details. And I'm just dropping this in here. How strong is the overarching theme or idea? What are some options to strengthen it from a big picture perspective? So we're taking a big picture look at this, and we're going to try to figure out how we might improve it. And you can see that this Canva feature is going through and looking at different ways that it can be improved. It is so nice to be able to simply apply these right here in this Canva feature and see how it's making the changes so it doesn't have to rewrite the entire thing. It's just like comments on a Google Doc. There are other things we can do at this developmental stage. I think it's one of the most important stages. So let's also add this one. What might a harsh critic say about this behind my back? And it's given us a few things that if someone was being really harsh, what they might say about this piece of content. I'm just going to say, let's improve it based on these insights. And it is now editing all of this. So now moving from the developmental review into the structural review, we can say, is this piece organized properly? Should the order of these sections be rearranged to maximize clarity or impact? This could be used for fiction, nonfiction, step-by-step, stuff like this. It's looking at the current order. Since ChatGPT came up with it, it's probably going to be in a pretty good order. This oftentimes is more for, if you come up with it yourself. But it's got some great ideas here. I'm just going to say, hey, please update based on this. It's going to go ahead and edit it. It has made 5 edits based on that. But we can do more here, saying, do these sections work well with each other? Do they tell a compelling story? Do they offer surprises that keep the reader engaged? Could any of the sections be combined for better engagement? That can help make things more concise and more impactful. It's reviewing everything here, making some recommendations. I'm saying, sounds good. Please make these edits and also look for ways to increase engagement by making things more concise. Look at this. I found an error. We would have caught this later, but I want to show you how you can edit right in the document here, where you couldn't really edit the responses of ChatGPT before. You see it goes from section 1 straight to section 3. We could update that right here, section 2. And then this is now section 3. If we goofed up, we've got this previous version. So we can just go right back, restore that version. Same way you would edit a Google Doc. So this is really powerful, really easy to edit it. Now, we're going from the structural editing into looking at each section. So I just want to highlight this section. I just want to ask, can we use some cool 13-year-old slang right here? See if it comes up with some ideas for 13-year-old slang. You know how good they are. Here we go. Super epic. So everyone leaves with some dope party swag. Really cool, but you can see you can work through each section and fine tune the words you're using and so forth. And then the final section is very easy. It's just looking for proofreading. Let's say you've done a lot of editing to this and you've made some mistakes in here. Let's introduce some typos. The final stage here would be, please give this a final look for spelling and grammar, and hopefully it will catch those issues. Yep, you can see it just corrected those issues that I put in there. So again, going from developmental, structural, down to each individual section and thinking about the language in each section. And finally, the proofreading. So looking for different spelling or grammar errors. Something else you might want to check out is using Grammarly for unintended plagiarism. So I don't use Grammarly anymore for the spelling and grammar. I think that the ChatGPT or the other large language models can handle that better, especially now with this Canvas feature. But one thing I do like about Grammarly is that it can check for unintended plagiarism. There's so much content being created. There is a chance that you're going to copy what someone else has created. I just want a little bit of fail-safe, especially if you're doing this for a client or doing this for something professionally. You just want to make sure that something didn't accidentally get in there that is already out there in the internet. So you've got this nice little copy clipboard button here on the top right. I'm copying everything there, and I'm dropping this right into Grammarly. And then down at the bottom right here, there's this plagiarism check, and it is going to run over and see if there are any issues with plagiarism here. And look, it's grabbed this really even minute stuff. I'm fine with that. It's also picking up some things that resemble AI. So you can see that there are some sections that do not resemble AI, and then there's some that very much do. So you might want to go back and do some adjustment with Canvas to avoid that. However, I think these AI checkers are a bit aggressive. I've heard a lot of different stories about people who have written something completely from scratch and having a lot of that getting tagged as AI written. So I personally don't worry about this stuff that much. I know there are people out there that do, but I think if you're creating really compelling content that engages the viewer and you're spending a lot of time on it, making sure that it's great, that it's going to perform well in many situations. All right, next I want to get on to how we can use this not just for copy, but for project planning and a whole lot of other things. But before we do that, I want to welcome you. If you're new to the Blazing Zebra channel, I want to thank you for joining me on my mission of helping entrepreneurs and business leaders learn how to use these AI tools in practical, actionable ways. This channel is all about AI use cases that you can deploy directly to your day-to-day activities, things that you can share with your team. You can support this channel by joining my Patreon. Anybody who joins the Patreon gets a detailed cheat sheet to not only this video, but every single other video I've ever made. There's over 100 in there now, and each one of them has detailed prompts and frameworks that you can just copy and paste and start using immediately, start sharing with your team, start to systematize this stuff and really improve your day-to-day. I've also got some coaching options in there as well. All right, so moving on from content creation to project planning. We're going to run through these same exact steps on a solar panel project. And for this one, I'm just going to start with this raw transcript. This is a transcript of a huddle up call about a new project. I think the easiest way to do this is to just record everything inside of Zoom and make sure that it's transcribing that. You really want the transcription from Zoom that has all the different team members' names. I think that's a lot better than some of these different AI assistants that are out there. But we're just going to grab all of this, select all, copy this right into ChatGPT-4 with Canvas. I'm going to say, please draft a project plan from this call transcript. And then I'm going to copy and paste that whole thing in there. And there it goes. It is now starting to use this Canvas feature to create this project plan straight from this messy call transcript. Pretty awesome already, but we can do a lot better. One interesting feature is that you can adjust, slide this back and forth. I kind of like to have the chat a little bit smaller and the document a little bit larger. But now we're going straight through this process again, giving it this developmental review. The prompts are going to be slightly different, but not too much. I'm dropping in here, how strong are the overarching goals and objectives of this project plan? What are some options to strengthen it from a big picture perspective? Let's drop that in there. It's giving us some recommendations here. I love this. It's just like Google Docs. You can look at those, you can have a back and forth with it, or you can just apply those. I'm going to say, nah, this one's good. This one's good. I like this one. Risk management, we definitely want to improve that. And when you're going back through this, you're applying more compute to the more important areas. Here's another one that you might recognize as it's similar to the content example. What might a critical stakeholder say about the project plan behind closed doors? So we really want to get some objective views on this. They're thinking that budget might be a little high, timeline feasibility. I'm just saying, what can we do to mitigate these concerns given that the timelines and the budgets are fixed? And it made a handful of edits there. And now we're moving into the structural analysis. So I'm saying, do the sections of this plan work cohesively together? Do they provide a clear roadmap and keep team members engaged? Could any sections be combined for better clarity? Should any be split into different components? It's giving it this extra look from a structural level. It's making some different recommendations here. Added 4 comments. And I'm simply saying, please apply those comments. And now we're getting into the detailed words that we're using here, and we're looking to identify any jargon, overused phrases, or terms that might be too complex for the audience, just ways that we can make it more clear. We don't want people being confused. We want to get this project done. We don't want people tripping over different words here. If we could be more clear. Here we go. Explaining what EDR is. Because it may not be just your team, it may be the client's team looking at this as well, and they may not be as versed in a lot of this stuff. Okay, it's looking pretty good, but I still want to go through with this final review here. Please check for any inconsistencies, errors, or omissions in the project plan. I'm saying please make updates based on these recommendations, except for recommendation number 9. That one wasn't necessary. So you can really work with this just like a collaborator. All right, now diving right into the cheat sheet for all the different ways that you can use this. Software development is huge. This is the basic process for looking at a software development project through this lens. Here are some prompts for that. Product design and development is another one here. Marketing campaign development, educational curriculum development. Again, these are the same 4 steps, but slightly tweaked prompts for each. Business strategy formulation, personal development planning, process improvement in operations. That's a big one. I wanted to cover that. I didn't have time today. Financial reporting and analysis. And then I dove really deep into software development, as that is something I am working on quite a lot these days. So there is many pages dedicated to the different aspects of software development using this same process there. And there are a lot of ways to automate some of this stuff. So I'm going to link to a video now using make.com to automate prompt sequences. So once you've got a series of prompts that you're using over and over and it's working really well to improve your documentation, whatever that might be, you can use make.com to automate that so you don't have to sit there and plug in each prompt one after the other. You can just start it and let it rip. Again, check that video out. out, and thanks a ton for watching. Like I said, I've got a great cheat sheet for this that goes in depth and everything here. A lot of these prompts and sequences you can just copy and paste, share it with your team, and start getting this stuff done. Start improving the content you're creating, the projects you're planning, and start using this AI in a bigger and better way. So if you haven't subscribed to the Blazing Zebra channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give me a like, drop me a note in the comments. What are you using this for? What are you thinking about using it for? What are your challenges? What are your AI wins? And make sure to hit that notification bell so I will see you on the next video.